Hey guys, Dizzler Magic here, and we're going a little bit off the normal path of my channel to talk about this one because it does involve kind of like geek culture, which, there's a bit of a crossover there between Magic players and this whole scene. We're talking, of course, about comic books. And even I'd say DC as a company, and them and Marvel are blowing up right now, kind of, hitting the cinema scene. And I don't know about you, but where I commonly play Magic, they also sell comic books. So this might be of interest to you, especially since, well, you read the title. So you may or may not have heard of Zoe Quinn. I'm really lazy and don't feel like putting any effort into editing this. So instead of throwing up a picture of her, I'm just going to tell you all you need to know. 1, her hair is pink, and 2, she doesn't smile in photographs. Welcome to 2018, where you can reliably tell about somebody's personal politics by looking at their hair. Now, pardon me for not being like a comics guy. I might have some of these details slightly askew, but you'll get the gist of this whole thing. Vertigo has rebranded to DC Vertigo, and they're going to focus on, quote, modern, socially relevant, and inventive stories that capture a whole range of genres. I mean, the first part, yeah, that's accurate, and let me just say that's one way to put what you're doing. The second part, not really a whole range of genres. I mean, if you count the genre to be social justice nonsense, it's really one genre, but okay. But then they go on to say, and potentially a whole range of readers. No, one person is going to buy this, and it's not even a comics type person. Trust me. This is going to be a financial disaster to the point where even when they declare bankruptcy, they probably still won't get bought by anyone. It's what they would call a toxic asset, and I don't mean because of debt or incoming lawsuits. I mean, it's just traditionally toxic. You know why MySpace had trouble finding a buyer? Because of the word MySpace and its wonderful connotations. So Mark Doyle, the executive editor, decided to rebuild DC Vertigo. I just realized I didn't even look up a picture of him, but I'm picturing it in my mind right now. Okay, now I'm gonna look it up. Oh, call me now for your free psychic reading, apparently. Can we just pause for a second and appreciate the fact that people like Zoe, they identify themselves in public in a very visible way so that you know not to associate with them, don't hire them, just don't. Just in general, just don't. So anyway, Zoe's famous for being the co-founder of Crash Override Network, which is for victims of mob-based online abuse, or as normal people call it, reactions to their toxic, racist, sexist, hateful bullshit. Oh, not to mention lies and running around with their outrage culture, ruining everyone and everything everywhere. Literally saying the phrase, I disagree with you and I think you're wrong, is apparently mob-based abuse for unpopular opinions. So anyway, to skip to the point here, they are starting 7 different new comic series, or whatever you would call them. Apologies to comic fans, I don't even know the terminology. Actually, it probably is series. Why would it not be series? If they're not called a series, then they should be. So I'm going to read their synopsis, and by the way, don't try to copyright strike this, whoever the hell owns this. This is review, this is fair use, and I don't take kindly to people filing false DMCAs. I will destroy you in court. There will be no settlement. There will be no, oh, let's just agree to whatever. You will owe me a lot of money. You will end up writing me a very large check. So the first one's called Border Town. Imagine what that might be. Yes, that's correct. You are correct in assuming that this is some racist, like, what would you even call that? Political commentary, maybe, if I were to be really generous. There's a fat guy in a luchador mask on the cover. I mean, just... oh my god. So the synopsis is when a crack in the border between worlds releases. I can't do this. I can't fucking do this. So the synopsis reads, when a crack in the border between worlds... oh my god, can I even do this right now? When a crack in the border between worlds releases an army of monsters from Mexican folklore... sure, into the small town of Devil's Fork, Arizona, the residents blame the ensuing weirdness, the shared nightmares, the otherworldly radio transmissions, the mysterious goat mutilations on, quote, god dang illegals. Oh my god, somebody get me out of here. Why did I even make this video? With racial tension supernaturally charged. Guys, yeah, you were going to think I'm making this up. I am reading this word for word. They themselves wrote this, not me. I was going to call this a thinly veiled, like, satire of border relations. No, this is like shoving it in your face. This is hitting you in the head with a 10-pound hammer full of racism right here. So with racial tension supernaturally charged, it's up to the new kid in town, Frank Dominguez. You're supposed to put commas there. Oh my God, learn how to write. If you're going to write a damn comic book, make sure you know how punctuation works. So it's up to the new kid in town, comma, Frank Dominguez, comma, and a motley crew of high school misfits to discover what's really going on. In caps instead of italics. Apparently you're not supposed to inflect it, you're just supposed to shout the word, really. Oh, do you think I'm being like super petty about all the little grammatical mistakes and spelling errors, even though their job is to literally write words? I used to be a paid editor for a company bigger than Vertigo. A lot bigger than Vertigo. So Mexicans are now aliens and goddamn illegals coming in from, what did they say? Just a border between worlds, a crack in it? Is it dimensions, alternate universe, aliens? I don't know. I mean, maybe aliens would be a little too on the head for this, guys. They don't want to be too on the head with it, clearly. Okay, I'm moving on. I don't even need to comment on this. It's not that subtle. Next up, we got Hex Wives. Oh boy. As they say, all my hexes live in Texas. I couldn't think of a better segue. That was crap. Screw it, I'm leaving it in. Now see, this is what I don't get. It says that Hex Wives is written by Ben Blacker. Well, then where does Zoe come in? And where does the chief editor guy come in? This must be a whole crew of social justice nutcases. Warriors gives them too much credit, although they are very combative, so, you know. And once again, I have to preface this by saying, I'm not making this up. This is real. This is not a parody video. This is words and sentences that they wrote. Remember the psychoactivist SJW in the Uber or the Lyft ride or whatever bitching about the continent of Hawaii and the hula girl that he had on his dash and how it's so terrible and it's appropriation and it's offensive? And then she uploaded the clip? She herself uploaded the clip of her going berserk and acting like a dumbass? That's this, okay? This is self-presentation. Here's the synopsis. Quote, "The women are too powerful. They must be tamed." End quote. Excuse me, what? Was this written by a feminist or was this written by an anti-feminist? Not even an anti-feminist, just a sexist pig. What the hell, Ben Blacker? So guys, I don't know if you heard it or not, but the women are too powerful. They must be tamed. A malevolent conspiracy of men brainwashes a coven of witches to be subservient suburban housewives. But it's only a matter of time before the women remember their power, ... Holy shit, the 1950s were 70 years ago. Do they really think that in 2018, people are like, oh, women should still be subservient suburban housewives who they're owned by their man? I mean, in the Middle East, that's like literally the law, but I'm pretty sure they're trying to make this about America. Holy shit, if their goal with this is to try to make me feel bad and have a subtle, like satirical, I don't know, take on people's opinions about women, and by people I mean literally nobody, so kind of the opposite of people. Oh my God, I just gotta keep scrolling. I'm never gonna get through this. I could go off for 30 minutes on a rant about why this is bullshit. But, you know, just based on the cover, and it just looks so offensive to women, and it looks like it's going to be kind of lewd, and ooh, how, you know, it's kind of like those vampire things where all the vampires have to be, ooh, so sexy, and they're wearing no makeup, and they're so mysterious and seductive, and ooh, magic. Kind of give me that kind of vibe, which in itself is quite offensive to women, but this whole thing seems offensive to women and men, and people, humans. Art, writing, literature, this offends everything. I'd buy a copy just to burn it, but that would effectively be giving them $3.99, and I'm not going to do that. Next up, American Carnage. If you had to guess, what do you think this one's about? I'll give you a hint. Everybody on the cover's black. So, Brian Hill is behind this disgrace. The synopsis is as follows. In this thrilling crime saga, disgraced FBI agent Richard Wright, who is biracial but can pass for white... which on the cover, no he can't, goes undercover in a white supremacist group believed to be responsible for the death of a fellow agent. This was a Chappelle Show skit, I am pretty damn sure. What the hell? This has to be a joke. This cannot be a real thing. Literally the first sentence is, he's biracial but can pass for white. Who gives a shit? Gee, I wonder if the entire storyline will be about race. And okay, I mean, documentaries, fiction, you know, really important high-profile movies that were like subtle and independent at the time, but turned out to be like huge. You know, where they look into it, they try to be really real about like white supremacist groups and how they work, what the members are really like, instead of just, oh, they're terrible, and then nothing deeper than that, you know? It's deep. It shows how hateful they can be, how violent they can really be, how some of them are actually friendly, but still they're obviously hateful bigots. You know, and it runs a spectrum and it really gets behind it. This, there's no way in hell this is that. This is just going to be blah, 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 black people are always victims, blah, 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 white people are evil. By the way, I got him beat by 50% minimum here, okay? I'm triracial. I'm actually Irish, German, and Dutch. And I gotta say, I can kind of identify with the main character, Richard Wright, in this one. Because, I mean, outwardly to most people, I do appear to be white, but I could pass as albino. Okay, that's the 7th attempt at getting that line out clean. We're leaving it in. I've got things to do today. You know, as much as I don't like England and Germany, where they have very strict, like, you cannot say this, you cannot publicly have this opinion, you cannot post this online, even though it's the polar opposite of free speech. Still, I mean, like, in Germany, you get all the Nazis and you put them in jail just for expressing their thoughts. Is that idea, is that the whole, you know, what they all believe, is that ever going to spread again? Probably not, because they're making it a hell of a lot harder. Why can't they find some little loophole where this is like inciting hatred or something, where just this just, oh, black people are always victims, white people are always evil, oh, just this divisive bullshit. Somebody should go to jail over this. Now, maybe I'm reading a little bit into it from actually, it's all one sentence. It's one giant run-on sentence from a one-sentence synopsis, but put it in context, look up who's doing this, what type of company they're running. I think I've got a pretty good concept of what this is going to be like, just with the cover art and with the synopsis. Well, it only gets worse from here. Actually, I'm not sure we're going to do worse than Hex Wives. It only gets as bad from here, but next up we've got Goddess Mode. Okay, I'd say use your imagination, but this one's a little vague. Let's read the synopsis. Oh, here we go. This one's Zoe Quinn, and Robbie Rodriguez is artist, which, I mean, he's just drawing the pictures. I mean, can't really blame him for the content necessarily. I don't know him. I don't know any of these people, for the record. I feel like I know some of them at this point, though. In a near future where... Oh, wait a minute. I'm reading this completely wrong. Hold on. In a near future where all of humanity's needs are administered by a godlike AI, it's one young woman's horrible job to do tech support on it. Let me just add, tech support is a terrible job, yes. But when Cassandra finds herself violently drawn into a hidden and deadly digital world beneath our own, she discovers a group of super-powered women and horrific monsters locked in a secret war for the cheat codes to reality. On our next episode of Dragon Ball Z. So it's like, okay, it sounds neat. I'm a big fan of Dot Hack, the anime, and believe it or not, the games. Shut up, they were all right. But let's see if we can do some math here. We got Zoe Quinn, plus it's called Goddess Mode, plus the main character is a girl named Cassandra, plus superpowered women. I wonder if this will have a feminist spin to it. Oh, and the character's got maybe pink hair. It's kind of stylized, but we'll say pink hair. Let me guess, and all the male programmers are trying to take the credit of the women. I could imagine millions of scenarios that this is just going to be a bash on men, yay women power, just like subtly, basically, completely sexist pile of shit. And that cuts both ways with the men are evil, women are victims. I mean, you're going to insult one and demean the other. Welcome to modern feminism. Or I should say pseudo-neo-feminism, because it's not real. There are people who are just like, I just want equality and people to stop treating women like shit. Like, that's a real thing, and they're actually reasonable people, and they sometimes have a point, you know what I mean? No, this is primarily just like angry, fat, red and pink-haired, you know, just man-haters is who gets into this shit. Okay, so the 2019 titles, we're starting with High Level. So this is from Rob Sheridan. Him I think I've actually heard of. That can't be a good sign if it's who I'm thinking. And art by literally the coolest name ever, Barnaby Bajenda. I don't know, it's the word agenda with the letter B in front of it. We'll go with Bajenda, I don't know. I don't know, but I love it. Barnaby Bajenda, what's up? I might go change my name right now. Let's jump into the synopsis. Hundreds of years after the world ended and human society was rebuilt from scratch, a self-interested smuggler with a price on her head is forced to traverse a new continent of danger and mystery to deliver a child messiah to High Level, a mythical city at the top of the world from which no one has ever returned. Why would you bring a kid there then? Oh, I guess Child Protective Services got wiped out in the apocalypse. Oh, I ain't even talking about bringing the kid to some death trap, okay? I'm talking about the feminist propaganda that's going to be fed into the kid's mind on the way there, I'm sure. Anyway, this one's not blatant. This is not, ooh, housewives, but oh, the next one. Oh, that cover is not welcome in any comic shop anywhere. It's called Safe Sex, because of course it is. So it's written by the host/producer of Why Are People Into That, which is a podcast. I can't even imagine what fresh hell that is. Tina Horn. Hey, I've got a question, Tina. Why are people into that? Because I'm looking at the cover and no thanks. I'm not into that. A dystopian sci-fi thriller about a ragtag team of sex workers, because of course that's who they would put in a comic book and then like put into a shop that potentially might be attended by kids. What the hell? Now apparently shops have to have an M-rated section. That's wonderful. Probably not legally, just morally they should. So anyway, they're fighting for the freedom to love in a world where sexual pleasure is monitored, regulated, and policed by the government. Once again, I'd call it thinly veiled, but I think they're pretty much hitting you in the face with another sledgehammer full of their ridiculous, here's how society should be. Here's how you have to think. You need to be more open-minded, and by that I mean listen to every single thing I say and adopt it as your own opinion, and if you have a different one, then fuck you. Fuck your culture, fuck your beliefs, fuck everything. Read this and believe it. Oh, by the way, no joke, right after the title, there's this symbol that you put outside of a, like, gender-neutral bathroom. That's right, bathroom signs are gonna sell comics now. In case the two lesbians kissing on the cover wasn't a dead giveaway, this might be a bit of a gay interest book. They felt the need to add in the sign, guys, just in case you didn't get it. I think anybody who didn't get it might not know how to read. Oh, how dare any government ever have a differing opinion than you that certain things are unnatural or immoral. And you can't handle that, so you gotta make a whole book about it in, what, a dystopian future or whatever the hell they just said. I'm not gonna read that garbage again. Well, you gotta have a pretty big opinion of yourself and your own beliefs to look at every single culture for the last, 7,000 years of recorded history, and virtually all of them independently decided that through various religions, backgrounds, cultures, everything, that it is a bit unnatural to have a male attracted to a male or a female attracted to a female. They just came up with that. That's just their opinion. And then a tiny little minority of people are like, no, you have to think my way or you're a hateful bigot. What a wonderful way to be accepting of everybody else's beliefs, which ironically is what all these LGBT activists are screaming about. It goes both ways, whether you want to admit it or not. And the last one, I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that they basically made the most offensive comic book they could possibly come up with solely to grab attention. This one's written by Mark Russell. Don't forget that name because he's the one responsible for this absolute trash. This blatant and direct insult to over 1 billion people was Mark Russell's idea. And once again, this is real. They wrote this. God sends Jesus to Earth. Yep, that's where we're going with this. In hopes that he will learn the family trade from Sunman, an all-powerful superhero. What the actual hell? Who is like the varsity quarterback son God never had. What? But upon his return to earth, Christ is appalled to discover what has become of his gospel and vows to set the record straight. What? Now, this is going to sound like a joke. This is going to sound like I'm just saying this as a funny exaggeration. No, I'm not. I sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, mean that every single person responsible for this, I hope they drop dead tomorrow. This is the most needlessly offensive, insensitive pile of trash. Why don't you try it with the Muslim religion? Why don't you change it? Have Muhammad come back. How about that? See how that works out for you. Or are you just targeting a group that's not known for violence and violent, angry, well, definitely angry responses for people just taking their religion and just taking a dump on it? Because that's what this is. Fuck this and fuck you, Mark Russell. So this is DC, everybody. This is the kind of garbage, absolute trash that they're spewing out of this new Vertigo, whatever the hell company, DC Vertigo or whatever the fuck they're calling it. I'm so pissed off over this, I had to take my shirt off halfway through recording this because it's getting a little warm in here. Or maybe it's just me. This is so offensive, so social justice nonsense 2018 edition, it makes me sick to read this. The only thing that makes me feel a tiny bit better is that Vertigo is going to be shut down and bankrupt instantly. I mean, they are not going to sell one copy of one of these books except, maybe a couple here and there to a bunch of their friends. People who are like, they've never touched a comic book in their life, but then they get on their little Twitter sphere and their little, all different social media and they say, hey, everybody, help support, this, that, and the other cause by buying this. and basically inflating the numbers past their actual real sales numbers. Like, inflate the demand for something that no comic book enthusiast would ever read in a million years by buying a copy. But guess what? That's going to get old and it's going to run out real damn quick, and it's not as big of a community as you think. And plus, everybody's going to say they're going to do it, but are they actually going to, get on their little hover around because they're 400 pounds and cruise down to the comic book store to buy one stupid comic to make you feel better about your little social justice campaign? Probably not. I mean, that's even assuming they haven't been banned from the premises in the past for walking in and calling everybody a misogynist for liking comics. Just as a blanket statement. And in all the news articles covering this absolute nonsense, this complete and utter slap in the face to people who don't, suffer from the mental illness that is social justice, the comment section was World War III. It was literally World War III. So instead of just, I'm angry about this, I'm going to go play Far Cry 5. Like, what do you do with this? What is the point of this video? Okay, go to your local comic store. Tell them that you are never, ever going to buy anything from them again if any one of these 7 books hits their shelves. Simple as that. Get all your friends to agree to it. Target the distributors, the printers, anybody. Say, if you allow this racist, sexist, offensive, anti-religious, just garbage pile to pass through your company, I am going to boycott you and you are going to lose even more money. And everybody related to comics is losing money right now. They cannot take another hit. They cannot take a PR shitstorm the size of this. Trust me, it will take very little effort to push them to just shutting this garbage down. And this garbage needs to be shut down. By the way, for brevity, which, I know 21 minutes, shut up. I didn't even go into Zoe's background. Feel free to research it. Have you heard of something called Gamergate? That's where you probably heard her name. So that's where I'm going to leave it. Just wanted everybody to be aware of this. Please go out and do something about this. Put pressure on someone. I know that's usually SJW tactics, but, you fight fire with fire, and it's not like it doesn't work. It's proven to work. I mean, SJWs have infiltrated everything. Giant companies, all the, the whole West Coast attitude. They're hiring them all for PR, and it's just unbelievable how much this garbage has spread. You got them in Google. They're all over Microsoft. Apparently not Valve. Thank God they had the sense to just tell anybody who walks in with pink hair to just hit the road. They're ruining entire movies, multi-million-dollar movies. They're in Hollywood. I mean, it's time to stop this. I personally, sorry to offend you all, don't really care that much about comics. It's not my scene. But does that mean that I would care about SJWs taking over it and trying shit like this? Yeah, I still care. In fact, because DC's at the heart of this, let me end with a Marvel reference, because fuck you, DC. If I had a full Infinity Gauntlet sitting right in front of me and I could put it on, snap my fingers, and there goes all the SJWs from existence. Oh, the moral and social implications, it isn't right. No, bye, bitches. Wouldn't even think about it. You couldn't get my hand in that glove quick enough. I might snap again and take out their families because God knows they didn't do the right job raising them. This whole movement, this whole ideology needs to be removed from society. So every time you see it, shun it, stop it, put pressure on it, counteract it, whatever you have to do, it has to go away. So thanks for watching. I'm Desolator Magic. I usually cover Magic the Gathering content if you're watching this from some other source. And I will see you next video.